Dave Palumbo with RX Girl Training. I am here with NPC figure competitor Katie Paterson, and we're going to be doing a little delt training 2 weeks out from the 2011 NPC Junior Nationals. We are here at Hi-Fi Gym in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, Dave.
How's it going? You sent me a little email saying you wanted to do a little RX Girl Training. Here we are. We got you here. Talk to me a little bit about how you got to this point leading into this Junior Nationals event coming up this weekend.
I started in 2008, and I did a local show in Ottawa, Illinois, and I did not place well. So I didn't know if that would be my last show or not, but by the next year I was ready to, pretty much take off and wanted to win the Illinois State, so that's kind of what I set my mind to, and that's what I did in 2009, and did Junior Nationals that year, Team U that year. I placed 10th at Team U, and that kind of gave me some fervor. The first one I did not place in. So 2010, I did 4 national shows and consistently placing top 10. So now I'm aiming for top 5 this year.
How frustrating, explain to the people watching, how frustrating is it for you when you get to nationals after winning state titles and everyone telling you how great you are, and you got 40 girls in a class, and you're in the first call out, and then you don't hear your name called?
You know, when I'm standing there and you miss the first call out, you kind of get that feel like, crap, I hope I get the next one. And I can't say it's a fun feeling, but at the same time, you're with top in the nation and you see all the girls around you and everyone looks good. So it's, you're surrounded by good company. And when you see the girls that get called out, it's not like you're downgrading them in any way. You're kind of looking at how can I make improvements going into the next competition.
I try to imagine what it's like, because when I used to be backstage at the shows, at least I knew I was bigger than someone, or if I was harder than someone, I probably had a good chance of beating them. That's not the case with figure. I see you guys back there. They're lined up like 100 deep,
and everyone looks the same in their circles.
Exactly, and it's like, how do you even know what to do at that point?
Well, and I think it's funny backstage, too. You'll see someone that, I look better than them, but then when you see them on stage, something else comes out. Sometimes it's just exactly how they catch the judge's eye. So I can't bash anything around the way it's judged. Some of it's subjective, and if I were out there, it's hard to choose. You kind of pick who catches you and who grabs you at that exact moment. So I think a lot of it is just about timing. You bring your best package. You bring what looks best on you to the stage, and hope you catch someone's eye.
Now, when you're doing this this training here, all figure competitors have different methodologies because of the fact that some are too big, some are on the borderline, some need to put size on. Where do you find yourself in this spectrum?
With the addition of physique, I kind of got a lot of voices in my ear saying that I might need to think about doing something more in that direction. I do have a more athletic build. At the same time, I'm a little bit smaller. I have a small bone structure, so I've always been somewhat inhibited by like a narrow shoulder line and narrow clavicles, and always trying to bring the upper body up. So to me, it didn't make sense to kind of train to get bigger for figure, and then all of a sudden I'm too big for figure. But I do have kind of a leaner look, and I know that. So a lot of what in this shoulder workout, I'm not doing real heavyweight. I'm kind of just supersetting a lot of stuff. That's kind of what I started doing as I got closer and closer to the show. Of course, off season, I'm kind of building out the lats, building out the shoulders. I try to stay tame on the legs because they're already pretty well developed. But a lot of it just seems like fine-tuning for figure and trying not to get too big, but maintaining that shape and that curve where I need it.
At some point, does it get boring to you because you almost can't push the envelope anymore? It's like you almost have to keep your physique at what it's at,
It did this year. I think we got to about 4 to 6 weeks out, and I was working with Jason Theobald with diet and with Natty Nutrition, and we both kind of looked at me, and I had just heard a couple of people saying, physique would suit me well, and he kind of threw it out there, and we just kind of went for the higher rep range at that point, and I switched it over, and I do like pushing harder. I do like seeing heavier weights, but at the same time, I had to just kind of nilch that for a little bit, which did get boring for me, and I had to really kind of change my workouts around from what I'm used to doing. So I like my off season.
Yeah. Now, if you don't do like you would like to do, which would be top 5 here, would you consider the women's physique division next year?
I think I'll, want to get the judges' feedback and see if that is what inhibited me, if they think that my look gears more towards that, if it's more that, another girl stood out, 5 other girls stood out more than I did, then that might just be, I'm not my show, and I have to keep working to get my physique up there and figure, but I would consider it, absolutely. And I think Dana Lynn Bailey looked amazing at Junior USA's, and I was very on the fence about it and thinking, I don't want to do bodybuilding, I don't want it to look like that, but it still seemed to maintain that femininity, and I would definitely consider it.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't really, you're not too big. I'm looking at you here, that you're probably the same size as a lot of these figure girls, but you have a lot of good muscle definition,
right.
For lack of a better word there,
Just that, I think I get lean, and you can see a lot of the conditioning come out a little bit more. So I don't have as much of a soft look, I guess, is all it is.
So you get to eat extra food, I would assume, in your diet.
I do, yes. Way more carbs than I've eaten going into show ever. So thanks to Jason, he prepped me much better than I've gone into as far as the diet side this past show. So kept the rice in all the way through, sweet potatoes, cream of wheat even. So yeah, it was pretty seamless going in.
How many grams of carbs were you consuming per day?
I was doing 140 grams on my moderate days. On my high days, when I would do like a back or shoulder training, I would do 180 grams. A couple of days that we threw in just a low, where I was probably just under 100, threw in more fat, so then I would kind of run to try to cut into the legs a little bit. So I'd go for about an hour run. And my quads had just developed. So
hold on, hold on. I'm stopping you here. You said an hour run. You can run for an hour straight?
Oh, I can. Yeah, not like a sprint, but I can run for an hour.
No, I mean that's a long run though. I was a runner for you. That's like you probably got 6 miles in, or 5-6 miles, right?
Easily, yeah. I'd say 6.
Do you have a runner's background?
I did track in high school. I didn't do anything in college, so I guess I drank in college, drank and studied. But I still worked out. But yeah, I did track and field in high school, and I really was more of a sprinter. But now I don't do anything competitively, so I've worked myself into more of a distance runner when I get the chance to run. But for the most part, that was just on the low days. He really didn't want me running too much because we didn't want to eat into the muscle. So
that's pretty amazing. But that's pretty amazing that you could actually not run that much, and then when you needed to run, you can go run 6 miles, because you would think that you'd have to build up to that and do that on a more regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, I think I ran a lot last year, maybe a little bit too much. So I think some of that conditioning stayed in me, and probably just because I used to run so much as far as like my athletic background. But it surprises me sometimes when I pop out a 6-miler and haven't really been doing too much running.
That is amazing.
I think I keep my cardio conditioning up even without running. I do a lot of kettlebell spurts.
I was going to ask you about the kettlebells. I'm watching you doing some unusual bending exercises while holding the kettlebell up in the air. What is this for?
The windmill. It's I learned from a friend who he's passed away. He was Eastern European, and they are nuts. So it was a Lithuanian friend. He's RKC certified, and basically a lot of it is focusing on using the body as a system versus isolating each muscle group. So even in like where I'm doing the shoulder movement, I'm not really feeling just the shoulder. I'm using a lot of that core and rooting from the ground to get that weight up, because those are pretty heavy weights that I probably wouldn't just be doing presses with. But in that windmill particularly, I'm working a lot of core just to balance or stabilize myself going down, and then to pull myself back up. But at the same time, I'm using the lats to keep my shoulder locked in. I'm using my shoulder to really keep that weight overhead without wobbling. So a lot of it is just giving me an all-over body pump, where my heart's probably at 170 doing those.
Wow, really?
Seeing very minimal movement, yeah.
They're that intense?
Yes, definitely. So I definitely keep the cardio conditioning up even if I'm not running, but then I'm taking longer breaks after that. So I'm breathing for about 2 minutes probably after a set.
Don't you have to worry about the core getting too thick, the waist and stuff like that, especially for figure?
I worried about it more so recently, and probably a little late in the game. I have a very small waist circumference-wise, but I don't really have as much curve inward, so it looks thicker than it is. It's very just linear, I guess. So I've been thinking about leaving out some of the oblique movements, and I think that's something I probably should have started earlier. I've been kind of mulling that over the last couple of weeks, so I definitely think a lot of it is bringing the lats out a little bit, and probably just avoiding some ab movements, really. But at the same time, you need a strong core to do strong lifts.
Now, what is this you're doing? It looks like you're using a T-bar row, but two of them at the same time, and you're kind of doing some side laterals, overhead presses with them. What is this machine got a name?
It's a grappler. So there's actually a lot of stuff that I will play around with it, make up exercises, and that side raise, a lot of it is just the amount of pull because it's fixed down at a 45-degree angle to the ground. You're not really getting as much weight out of the bar at the bottom of the movement. It's all at the top of the movement. So I feel like it really trains your strength when you're kind of hitting a weak point at the top range, just like, if you're doing chains on a squat rack, it would train you at the bottom range. So really just kind of trying to change it up and trick the muscle a little bit. And it's so used to dumbbells at this point, I've got to use some different techniques to get it to actually assimilate to the chains.
Gotcha. I mean, it makes sense, but it looks like that was a lot of weight you were using. The bars are heavy.
It was heavy. I don't remember if we added weight to it, but it's a 45-pound bar. It's not 45 pounds that's going to my side, though, because it is fixed down at the ground. But, I couldn't pump out too many reps. I think we were between 8 and 10 there.
Aside from these 6-mile runs every once in a while, what are you doing cardio-wise, like, as far as minutes per day?
Right now, going into the last few weeks, I guess not now, it's the last week, but I was really hitting about 40 minutes max. So, and a lot of times just even 30 minutes. I would keep my heart rate a little bit lower, and I've had metabolic testing done, so I'm efficiently burning fat up into like 160, but at the same time, we didn't want to mess with it too much.
Sure.
So I keep myself down in the 140s, 150s. I know a lot of people stay 120s, 130s.
Yeah.
But I would pretty much do incline walking, either fasted. Of course, I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning for my clients.
Oh, my God.
A lot of times I wasn't doing the morning cardio. I would try to do it either 2.5 hours after a meal, so my insulin levels were low, or I would do it right after my workout. So I'd pretty much hope I'd used up my glycogen stores and then strictly point. But max, I was going about 30 minutes in a single session. If I was doing 40 that day, it was probably split into 2 sessions, like 20 here, 20 there. Right. So.
Well, getting up 4:30 in the morning, I'm assuming you go to bed early.
I try. I can never sleep as well close to a contest. I don't know if it's nerves or if I'm just metabolic pickup or if I'm making that up. But
it's hunger and metabolic.
It's probably hunger, yeah.
It's also your
and
metabolism.
And going to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
15 times, yeah. That helps too.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
Katie, good luck. You look great. I suspect that you're going to probably do very well at the Junior Nationals, and we will see you out there this weekend.
Great. Thanks a lot.
For now, we're out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Katie Peterson, RX Girl Training.